What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video. In this video, we're going to be breaking down some price action on NZD USD. We're going to be breaking down some trades that were very good on NZD USD. We're going to break down some potential entries, and we're going to look to see the price action that the market gave us and how we reacted based off the price action. So jumping right into it, guys, I do need to go into replay mode because this happened yesterday. Yeah, so this happened yesterday, and we're gonna kind of head and break this down a little bit. NU is a bearish market, as you can see at the moment. We have continuous redistros to the downside, as you can see. So sellers are clearly in control, right, on NU at the moment. So in replay mode, we're gonna go back to right here. This is where we're going to go back to, and we're just going to go ahead and break this down a little bit more. And I'm going to show you guys the point of interest and everything like that we were looking at inside of this. Okay, so starting off with our point of interest and why we were looking for shorts in the first place, we have right here, this is our point of interest. Why is that our point of interest? Because we do have a failed accumulation here. So zooming into it, we had the market try to accumulate and it failed. So what that is telling us that we had potential buyers that tried to get into the market, and then it ended up failing. So sellers took over. So there had to be some type of institutions or some type of sellers that came in here to take out these weak-handed buyers, right? So drawing that out, you can see I draw my fibs, and we came right into the 50%, right? This pink line is the 50%. The gold line is the 80%, the fibs. Okay, so we tapped right into our 50%. So this is during New York time. This is during, not New York, I'm sorry. This is during Frankfurt time, right? This is Frankfurt open right here. And you can see that we come and we mitigate the 50% of our first point of interest. So that makes this here a new point of interest for us, all right? So that makes that a point of interest, and you can see we go lower and we break this low right here. Once we do that, that creates our change of character to the bottom. So that allows me to at least place a limit order right here. Okay, so we had a limit order at the 50%, and we also had a limit order at the 80% here of our manipulation. So we know that this is the manipulation that mitigated the previous 50% of our point of interest, right? So we had that entry there, and we had that 80%, and all of these entries are going to be to target this low. We're targeting this low right here. Okay, so we had the first entry and we have the second entry. So now let's go down into the price action. Let's break down what happens. So I'm going to go ahead and speed this up a lot more. You can see as New York time comes in, and we're getting the price action. The market is getting the price action, and I think here is where we tap in. This is where we got our first entry. This is the 50% entry that we got into, and we're going to break down the fractal entries as well that happened on the 1 minute time frame. So I'm going to go ahead and put this down a little bit more, zoom this out, and let's see what happens as we tap into the 50%. So you can see the market taps into the 50%, right? And this is where we get in, and we're going to start breaking this down a little bit. So here's what happened here. The market goes ahead and we create a schematic, right? For those of you who know how I trade, we use Wyckoff and we use Smart Money. Okay, those are the two things that we use together to trade. So we have a distribution schematic here. We can see you have it 3 drives. If we were to go on a 30-second time frame, you would see this very cleanly, but it doesn't matter. You have to train your eyes either way to see this on any time frame. Okay, so it doesn't matter what time frame you're on. You have to be able to see that the market is giving us a distribution here. With our 3 drives, you can see we have 1, we have 2, and then this is our 3rd drive that needs to break this low. Okay, so as soon as the market breaks this low and we get our first entry here, of course, we want to sell out of this schematic. Okay, we want to see if this schematic is going to give us enough reasoning to sell here. Now, what happens is the market ends up going lower, and what we need is the market to break this low. So we need the market to at least break that low, and then we will be trading the schematic. So what happens is we go lower, we break the low. Okay, so primarily in this first entry right here, we wanted to take the open of the schematic right here, and we have the open here. The open is going to be about a 7 0.3 stop loss at the open here. And the 50% of this schematic here is going to be about, let's say, a 4-point stop loss. So here's our 2 entries just based off of the fractal schematic itself. Since we were able to take out that low from the schematic, we can place entries here, and these 2 entries are going to go for the same thing for this low right here. Okay. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this a lot better by just placing this in front here, and then we're going to leave these so we can clearly see the schematic and all the price action. So on the blue line is the open. We have the 50% here of this schematic, and I want you guys to watch the price action as we do this. We get close into the 50% here. I mean, not the 50%, but we get close to the open, and the market goes lower, not tapping us in. So once this happened, what we actually did was I was actually inclined to take a potential short just off of this, because I concluded that this was probably going to be our redistro, and we probably weren't going to go any higher, and we just missed the trade, right? So that was our first idea, is that maybe we can just take a sell off of this here, and we ended up getting stopped out on this. You see the market gave us a reaction, but we ended up getting stopped out. So what happened was we actually came back into our distribution. Okay, so we took a loss on that redistribution, and the market came into our distribution. The reason why this distribution is still valid is because that we have sellers here. Okay, as long as the market does not take out this high, we can still be selling from this distribution. Okay, so we actually do come back into our open, and I believe we do tap into the 50% as well. Let me go to the 1 minute time frame. And we do tap into the 50%, as you can see right here. I'm going to just draw out the line so you guys can know that we did tap into both of these entries. So I'm going to delete this. And you guys see that we did tap into the 50% here, and we tapped into the open here. Okay, so as that happens, I want you guys to kind of zoom in here, and I want you guys to see what is going on right now. The market is creating a schematic again. So you guys can see that we're having our drives 1, 2, and potential 3. All we need is this low to break. If that low does not break, then we can't take another entry. And what we need is this low to break for us to take another entry here. And I'm going to go ahead and slow it down for you guys just a little bit. As the market is doing this, you can see we don't break the low. We don't break the low. We create a new high. So we need this low to break now. We don't break that low. We create a new high. We need this low to break. So as the market is going up into our trades, you can see we did take a little bit of drawdown, especially from the open. But the 50% is in a little bit of drawdown. Our stop losses is sitting up here. And for the first trade, our stop loss is still at this high. Since we are still bearish from here, our stop loss is still at this high for our first entry right there. But for these fractal entries, we're taking these entries just based off of this. You can see it's the same thing, but 2 different time frames. So this is how fractal the market is. You can see we're taking this trade off the same concept, but on 2 different time frames. So on a higher time frame, we have a 50% and the 80% entry based off of this. But when we scale down to the fractal time frame, you can see the same thing happen is we got the distro that creates a new low, giving us this first change of character, right? Giving us that first change of character. So now this distro is holding us lower just off this lower time frame, okay? And this is how fractal the markets is, and I want you guys to understand that these markets are very fractal. So as we are waiting here to see if we will get this schematic, all we need is one of these lows to be broken. Well, mainly this low, since you can see now we have this first schematic here that never confirmed because we never broke this low. So now what we have is we're having this price action that's going like this, which is and it is giving us our drives. So what we need here is we need the market to give us some momentum to the downside and to break this low, okay? That's what happens. The market goes ahead and breaks through both of these, So what do you think our entry is going to be? Our entry is going to come out of the open of this candle right here. And our stop loss is going to go to this high. Okay. And if you wanted to get very fractal with it, you could have taken another entry off the 50% here as well. And both of these entries are going to be covering the same thing. It's going to be going to this low right here. So all of these are happening on a fractal time frame, just starting from our first entry. So let's go ahead and play the market forward. So we tap into both entries here. We tap into the open and we tap into the 50%. So let's say you miss both of these entries. Where's your next entry going to be? Off of this candle right here. And let me go ahead and draw out the candles for you guys so you guys can see this clearly and where we're taking our entries off of. Okay. Everything that's highlighted is what we're taking our entries off of. So this entry, these two entries came off of this price action, and then these two entries came off of this price action here. And we know the first entry came off of this right here. Okay. So that's what the market does. And you have one more entry off of just this candle right here. Okay. So I'm going to place these a little bit forward. And I'm going to go ahead and we're going to draw one more line. That last line is going to be for this area here. We're going to have our entry right there with our stop loss covering the high, which is going to be that high that is holding this. So we have this structure. So we need this to maintain here. Okay. And let's watch what the market does as we do that. Market goes down, we trade lower, we come back into that entry here, mitigating this candle. Mitigating that candle, just gonna put that right here because like I said, this is right here is the low that we're targeting for all of these entries, right? And let's speed it up. You can see that the market sells off. Okay, so that is how fractal these markets are. So I want you guys to understand how important it is to have a good understanding of where you are in the market and how to actually look at the smaller time frames when it comes to distribution, when it comes to Wyckoff, when it comes to your accumulations, when it comes to your points of interest. Make sure you're actually watching the price action inside of your points of interest, because you can see we got this first entry here, but look how many other entries the market gave us before we actually gave the move to the downside. So that's something to keep in mind, right? This is something that I wanted to share with you guys. It is a great back test. It's NZD USD. It happened on Tuesday, the 15th of August. So it's a great way to go and back test if you are trading Wyckoff, or if you are looking for a new methodology to trade, then you can go ahead and back test this, see for yourself. Look at it in different pairs. You know, all you need is your structure to be aligned. You need to know where you are at in the market, right? Whether you should be a buyer or whether you should be a seller. Like we explained earlier in the video, we were wanting to be sellers because we see that NU is a bearish market and it was on a selling trend, right? So with that being said, all we had to do is identify our last area of supply. And when we did that, we figured out that's the area that we want to see the market react off of. We seen the reaction here. Once we seen that first reaction with the change of character, we took the entry based off the 50% of this manipulation. So once we had that first entry, all we did after that is just scale in to see if the market would give us fractal entries, and it did. Okay, so that is the video, guys. I hope you guys enjoy it. I hope you guys could take something from it and learn from it. If you guys have any questions, any concerns, please let me know. And like I said, if you have any questions about like mentorship or about just joining the community, links are in the description. All right, I will see you guys in the next one. Peace out.